morning. I swear a lot.
Hello friends, and welcome back to In the Stars and Time. So, at the end of the last episode, and indeed after editing the last episode, I remember feeling really strange. I couldn't even describe what the feeling was necessarily. I was just contemplative. Very, very contemplative. Like I was kinda doing stuff that I normally do after recording, chores and whatever, but in a haze, or in a bit of a daze, I should say. Not really concentrating on what I was doing, and just thinking. Because a lot happened, and Siffrin is changing in major fucking ways throughout the game, right? Act 4 has been the most dramatic changes, but it's all been built up. There's been a process, things have been established, built up, it's been a slow burn, and we're starting to see major payoffs. I've got a lot to talk about, but here's what I want to do, okay? I want to try for the suspicion point thing. Apparently they're called weird points, as it turns out. But I'm going to keep calling them suspicion points, because if I'm going to coin a term, then I'm going to fucking use it. I'm going to try for the suspicion point run today. I don't know if it's going to work, because there are two, or at least a couple steps I have to do in order to get the desired outcome, whatever the fuck that may be. And I'm not entirely sure I'm going to be allowed to do them, because I might not be there yet. And if not, then I'm gonna have to just do it another time. It's whatever. I'm gonna give it a go regardless, see what happens. There's nothing wrong with doing another run through the house, and there's stuff to do anyway. Like, we're on a book hunt. Loop sent us out on a book hunt to find out more about witchcraft, so there's stuff we gotta do in the house anyway. I'm going to do a proper, meticulous run-through of the house. But I think my biggest issue when I've been doing these runs through the house is that it feels weird. It's not necessarily anything wrong with it, because thank God, you know, video editing, but it always feels weird going through the house and not talking for extended periods of time. It just feels off from a commentator's perspective, you know? So the plan is, I've got a lot to talk about. I want to talk about Siffrin today. And we're going to do that while going through the house and doing a lot of the same shit over and over again. I'm going to try and multitask my mind a little bit on this and try and acknowledge changes that occur. I'm not going to be holding shift to skip through things, but I will cut stuff if I'm not saying anything and nothing different happens. This will be a long recording. We'll probably only do one loop, but that's why I was like, okay, let's do a In Stars and Time double bill so that I can be a little more laissez-faire with this one, you know? So let's give it a try. So, I've even written notes, actually. You're going to see my mouse whizzing past the screen a lot more than usual, because normally I would just, like, I take mini breaks by reading stuff, like comments or whatever, to the left side of the screen. I do this all the time in all recordings I do. Limbus, XCOM, this, what have you. I will always take small breaks where I just, I don't know, look at something on YouTube or read something or what have you. This time I'm going to be referring to various notes. So if you see my mouse, so you see it whizzing past the screen, that's what I'm doing. I'm just referring to stuff. There are a lot of things I wanted to talk about, and I just talked about one of them, which is how I felt strange at the end of the last episode, because I've been thinking about it a lot. And I'm never going to be able to present all of the points that I've thought of in my head and do it, you know, concisely and as perfectly as I would hope. But I'm going to give it a try anyway. The general mentality I'm getting at this exact moment is that the Sif we were introduced to at the start of the game, you know, in like Loop 1, in Act 1, what have you, is dead. Pretty much dead, okay? He's been dying since the end of Act 1, I want to say. And he died, quote unquote, when he saw Bonnie get killed by the king. That is the moment when the Sif we knew at the start of this game truly ceased to exist. I'm not talking about different Sifs in different loops or clones or what have you. I'm literally talking about the Sif we're playing as. The person he was is gone now. That doesn't mean he's going to be someone completely different, but he can never be the same again by this point. He truly has changed too much. And in Act 4, we're seeing a lot of the issues that he's facing. His personality is breaking down to the extent that the Siffrin from Act 1 wouldn't recognize the Siffrin now. Just be like, who the fuck is that? Like, that's completely and utterly gone from who I was. It's just not the same person anymore. And it's my, this might be awkward. Just in case, there might be different dialogue based on the fact that we did the thing. Sure, listen anyway. Hey, Issa, how's it going? You nod. I'm actually going to quickly pay attention to this because Sif might have some kind of reaction, given the circumstances. Thing to tell you is that, against your will, you hold your breath. I don't have anything to tell you right now, chicken. Oh, come on now. Yeah, it's going to be the same. Sif is so much different than he was when he started the game, and it's interesting because he's also not different. He's still Siffrin, but it's just a completely different person by this point. You never did hear what he had to say about you. Maybe if you went back to that time, after you beat the king, if you asked again, made sure you had no interruptions, maybe able to hear it this time. Sif, buddy, it's not gonna happen. Okay. But there are so many things I want to talk about, and trying to talk about them concisely is hard. But Sif loves theatre, right? Of course he does, because he himself is an actor. Not literally an actor featuring in plays, although I'm sure he would if he had a bit more confidence. But he puts on an act every day of the week. He, obviously, he deflects a lot of, personal statements, he hides his, many issues and plays them off with puns and jokes. Wait for the universe to bring you to the entrance of the house, you blink. And we see that actor mentality become even more and more pronounced throughout the game. In Act 4, he's now using a lot of theatre terms, you know, enter, insert name here, encore, and stuff like that. I can't think of the exact examples right now, but he's doing a lot of it. He's really leaning into it, and it also leans into the fact that he is, to an extreme degree now, more extreme than he's ever done before, putting on an act for the people around him. Because he's devolving into some kind of weird fucking monster gremlin by this point. Not literally, he's still human, but mentally he's devolving into some kind of instinct-based fucking thing. And that is purely due to the insane amounts of mental stress that comes from doing this loop over and over again, seeing no solutions, being stuck with himself and Loop. And while Loop is very helpful, I would not say Loop is the best person to have in your corner from a psychological perspective, because Loop is very blunt. Loop doesn't mince words, which can be helpful in certain situations, but Loop also lacks tact, which, honest to God, looking at Siffrin, I can't tell if Siffrin needs, you know, soft, comfortable, nice approach or some tough love. I actually can't tell. Like, I don't know what the approach would be. I'm not a fucking psychologist, so I have no idea. Stay silent and skip. Yep, that's a weird point. But we do see that the psychological trauma that Siffrin is suffering is manifesting in many physical ways. And this is something that we've seen IRL. Like, this is a real thing. It's not just something made up for the purposes of this game. Of course, it does provide something of a quote-unquote allegory. I love using that term for this game. The stomach pulling feeling and now discomfort in Siffrin's stomach is one of the main things we see as a symptom of what's going on the longer he's in here. Can I kill this in one hit? Will I get a weird point for it? Or will we just loop? We did it. See, Mirror, it wasn't that bad. They didn't even acknowledge the fact I killed it in one hit. We've been faffing around with this for nothing. Everything's fine. But yeah, the extreme psychological stress that Siffrin is suffering would absolutely manifest in such things as stomach problems, because every time Siffrin loops, any physical injury he has disappears. It just does. That's just what happens. By all rights, there should be no lasting effect, even if using wishcraft or timecraft or whatever the fuck he's actually using to loop backwards and forwards, even if that did have physical effects, even if you were to argue that, oh yeah, prolonged, sustained use of it, like, affects your stomach or something, just because that's what it seems to directly interact with when you use it. I mean, every time he loops, his body is restored to how it was when the loop started. That's just what happens. Which means any of the issues he has with his stomach have to be psychologically based. It's simultaneously not there and very there. There's no damage to his stomach. The damage is all in his head, which is very real. You know, like, because the loop can't fix his brain. If it reset his memories, it could, but it doesn't. He lives with everything that happens. He doesn't take any damage, but he's also taking a shit ton of damage every single time. And it's worth pointing out, because someone asked me on the Discord, right? They were like, if you were stuck in a loop, you know, what would you do? How long do you think it would be before you started getting desperate to try and leave? And how long do you think it would be before you started, you know, messing with your environment just to see what happened? And as I answered that question, it occurred to me that one of the first things I would do if I was stuck in a loop and, like, that information was confirmed, you know, we got past the initial, confusion and all that, and we just kind of understood what was going on. The first thing I would do is just fucking hang about a bit. I'd just slow down, right? I don't know, do stuff that in my normal life I would deem to be too unimportant to bother with. Like maybe I'd go stare at stuff, like, you know, look at the environment, or splash around in the river, or I don't know, take a nap. Like, it's just stuff I wouldn't do normally, but I can do now because I have plenty of time. I literally have infinite time. It's all going to reset soon, so I just do stuff that I can relax to, or relax with, or I can actually skip these because I know these are going to be the same. I do things like that, and it occurs to me that Siffrin has only once, I would say, maybe twice, and both of these are maybes, taken loops to actually just rest and relax and not do anything and heal, basically. Other than those two occasions, it has been a constant onslaught of mental trauma and stress. Mostly stress, also plenty of trauma, right? So the first one I can think of, not necessarily in chronological order, in fact, it's not in chronological order at all. The first one I can think of is hanging out with Loop in the tree, right? That was a day where Siffrin actually didn't do anything, as it were, and just chatted with Loop. Now, that could have been an example of Siffrin actually just healing, right? Taking a day to relax, not worry about anything, just talk over the problems he's having, and in some small way, small way, because it's not nearly enough time. We all know that psychological damage takes a long time to recover from. It's not simple. But in some small way, could have begun to recover, right? Heal a little bit. Unfortunately, we were at the exact same time running the experiment to see what happens if the party fails in the house without without Siffrin, even. Which then upset him to a major fucking degree, which then kind of undone all of the relaxing aspects of, you know, doing that, as it were. A classic case of like, oh, I'm kind of relaxing, but it's for an actual productive purpose, which is not relaxing, by the way. I've tried to do that many times in my life where I'm like, oh yeah, well, I'm kind of chilling, but I'm also doing my job. It's not the same thing. You need to be in the right mindset. You need to actually convince yourself to relax. That's how you relax. You can't relax and be productive. It's the wrong mindset, but it's a very easy one to fall into. But the result of all this is that on one occasion where Siffrin perhaps could have rested a bit, he didn't. Which you could argue is Loop's fault, and yeah, you know, I'm not going to pretend it isn't, but at the same time, it was necessary. We were learning something important. The other one would be when we do all of our family members' personal quests. Once again, a great example for situations where perhaps Siffrin could have cut back a bit. I'm thinking most specifically of Isabeau's personal quest, where you literally just, you know, hang out. That's all you do. There's nothing else to it. But most of that day is spent talking with your family members about very deep and personal issues, which I don't know if you've ever had like heart-to-hearts with someone where you've tried to talk them through shit. That's not relaxing. Or at the very least, it's very rarely relaxing. Most of the time, it's actually quite... I wouldn't say stressful, that's too far in the opposite direction, but you're not exactly chilled either, you know, you're paying attention, like you're there mentally, you're not kicking back. And also, after all that, you know, we had that lovely pre-house like experience, then went into the house and had lots of lovely experiences there as well, then beat the king, then got to the end and had it loop anyway, which kind of immediately undid any opportunity to recover that Siffrin had during that. So my point, which I appreciate I've taken a long time to go through, but to be fair, we're going to be doing this a lot. We're going to be, you know, like we're going to be here a while, is that Siffrin is taking no time to rest. You give a secret look to Odile, but she just looks confused. Ah. People say that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but that's adjacent to the truth. It's not quite the truth, and it's not quite not the truth. The reality is that healing makes you stronger. You know? If you suffer a cut of some kind, and then your body heals and it forms scar tissue, which is strong, yes, that is technically getting stronger, but if you don't let it heal, then it just remains a cut and you're weaker for it. And Siffrin has taken no time to heal at all. He's not getting strong. He's physically getting stronger in the sense that he's gaining levels and shit, but he's mentally getting weaker and weaker and weaker as the game goes on. And we're really starting to see it now. You keep walking. That was weird. Huh. Okay. Oh, this is the storage room. This will be important. This is actually one of the defining moments to see whether or not we can even, you know, do this run. But Siffrin has done nothing to heal. And it is, I think, starting to show. I think that is a big part of the problem, where Siffrin has not stopped at all during this game. Which is ironic, because the first thing we see Siffrin do in the game is taking a nap, right? Which makes it clear to me that before the events of the game, maybe that side content that exists, which is like a prequel story, if I remember hearing about it correctly, might prove or disprove this fact, but it says to me that Siffrin did, to an extent, take care of himself prior to this. At least to some degree. He did take naps, he did rest. But he doesn't rest anymore. He doesn't even sleep at the clock tower, or at least it doesn't seem to be to him. He blinks and then he's there. It's perhaps him subconsciously manipulating time to make it go quicker because we've got shit to do, or he's impatient. But it leads to him just, there's no time, he has no time to himself during these loops. Not one. And the thing that brought all of this to my attention was talking to Loop and Siffrin being like, can I just stay here for a while? And just do nothing? Because his mind or body, a combination of the two, his subconscious mind is screaming at him to take a break. Just sit for a minute, just stop. Just stop overloading with new information, concepts far beyond the normal person's understanding, horrors beyond our comprehension. Just stop for a minute and sit down and just don't do anything. But he can only bring himself to do it for like a couple minutes, or as long as the player is willing to allow him to do it. And it has no effect, because canonically, I suppose, you would never sit there long enough for that to actually matter, for that to actually mean anything, unless that is a feature. Maybe I might try it again once we, leave the house, if it lets me. There's another weird point. Good stuff. But Siffrin's impatience and unwillingness to kind of take their time with things also leads me to another point, which I don't know if I think this is intentional. It could not be, but I think it is an intentional detail. I'm actually going to stop for a moment. We're going to do this a lot today. This is going to be a long one, and I'm sorry, and it's all just going to be talking. So if you're not here for that, I do apologize. But one of the things I've been thinking about a lot, and I think a lot of people who played / are watching this now probably thought about a lot when it happened, was when Siffrin kissed Isa. That decision, that moment, the way Isa reacted, the way Siffrin reacted, right? There's a lot going on there. And there's a lot to unpack, and I don't know if I could unpack it all right now, because there's much more to it and there's much more to find out. But there's one thing I want to address, which I don't think is me just making assumptions. I think this is actually rooted in the information that the game has given us. And that is that Siffrin approached it wrong. And I don't mean that subjectively in like let me tell you how to pick up the people you like. No, I mean given the information that Siffrin has technically been provided with, up to this point, he approached that situation entirely wrong. Because, and this is a bit of a draw, but some of you might remember this, if you recall, I think it's the second floor snack time bit, but I don't remember, just after snack time, you can go up to Isa, and Isa's like, oh, are you still hungry? Would you like a cookie? And you can say no. And then Isa goes, all right, let me try that again. I'm going to offer you a cookie, and you're going to say, yes, please, Mr. Funny Buff Isa. Right? You remember that? It's a fun little scene. Now, when you do that scene again, you can go there and preempt it. And you can go, yes, please, Mr. Funny Buff Isa. And he's like, what? And he starts freaking out, and the cookie is destroyed because he, reacts to you doing that. And he says very specifically, you can't just come out with shit like that to me. It's portrayed as a joke, let me be clear. But you can't just come out with shit like that to me. You gotta be, I'm a gentle soul. You gotta be delicate with me. What does Sif then do immediately after all, failing to get a confession from Isa at the end of that loop where he's made sure everything is perfect, then goes back to the favor tree, and then is waiting for Isa to put his hand on his shoulder, and then goes, what if I make the first move? Which is actually a good mindset. That was a good thought that Siffrin had, to be like, wait, I can break the cycle by making a move. The problem is he makes the wrong move and goes straight for a kiss, which is precisely almost exactly what Isa told us it would not work. And even then, Isa might have just been shocked. If they talked about it afterwards, it might have been fine. But of course, Siffrin freaks out at the perceived rejection and immediately undoes it. But the more important aspect, I think, here is that Siffrin was literally told by Isa, you got to be delicate and careful and, you know, patient. I think patience is the key term. You got to be patient with me. I can't handle that kind of stuff, like, so suddenly and without warning, as it were. And then Siffrin proceeds to do exactly that. And it shows that not only that Siffrin is so impatient and so numb to everything going on around him at the moment that he's just missing so many details. We can even draw another example. After this point, I will move on, I swear. I apologize for keeping it still, but I want to make sure I get this out properly. We can even draw another example, which is the first time, I haven't done any more than one, but I assume it changes after this point. The first time you do a loop after you've done everyone's personal quests, right? And on the first floor, you get that conversation between Isa and Odile, where Odile flips the coin, head or tails, blah, blah, blah. And then Isa says, I thought we were friends, and Odile goes, we're not friends, we're acquaintances, right? That line sticks with Siffrin. But if you do that after the friend quest, she doesn't say that. I can't remember what she says, but she basically is just like, whatever. No statement that we're not friends at all. But later on in that same loop, Siffrin's like, you said we weren't friends. Because it's mirroring what the player may well be doing by this point, which is fucking skipping through everything. Because there is so much dialogue and you're just skipping through because you're impatient and you need to get going and you want to see what's happening. And of course you'd be impatient. Of course Siffrin would be impatient. In my game, he's been here for 2 months. 2 months doing this is absurd. One of the most mentally damaging things that a person could experience is boredom. Right? Now, I don't think Siffrin's necessarily entirely bored, or that's not the only thing, but he is expressing frustration at saying and hearing the same fucking lines over and over again, and boredom is such a strong negative mental influence. If you were to sit in a featureless room with nothing to do for like 2 days, you would not be alright afterwards. If you were to do it for a month, you would be fucked. Absolutely fucked. In the head. But Siffrin is rushing everything. Siffrin is not taking in details. And it sounds like I'm criticizing him for it. Let me be clear that I'm not. And it's not just because I'm trying to appeal to everyone, because I'm like, oh, the audience obviously likes Siffrin, so I have to be nice to him. Nah, I like Siffrin too. I like him a lot. He's becoming one of my favorite characters in anything. He's incredible. And this is why. Because he is so overtly flawed. And a lot of those flaws come from him shooting himself in the foot for various different reasons. We saw it in Act 1, in Act 2 and Act 3, and now definitely in Act 4. So, can we read this book is the question. This kind of decides everything. One of them is written in your language. You can read it now. It seems to be a theoretical essay about how to use witchcraft. Witchcraft, so it is real. You start flipping through it. Siffrin, what are you looking at? It's a book on something called witchcraft. Witchcraft? What's that? Do we really have time for this right now? That face, I want to talk about that, right? Because someone might look at that and go, oh my god, good, Siffrin's happy, you know? Like, that's a positive development, isn't it? Because he's been scowling and like looking tired for most of it. I find that face more disturbing than like the eyeshadow look. Because that's not just happy. Like, look at the lines underneath his right eye. To me, that doesn't come across as, like, kind of normally happy. That comes across as wild and unnatural. It's out of character. It just doesn't look like Siffrin. It's desperate, feverish, right? Like, and it's not unjustified. It's like, oh my god, I might actually be on track to maybe do something about all this, but it is so, not excessive, because I 100% understand it, but it's wild looking. It's not right. That's not healthy. All of this, I should say, if it ever sounds like I'm going like, oh, this obviously wasn't drawn properly or written properly. No, I believe this is all intentional, 100%. I don't want to give the writer I don't want to praise the writer like some kind of god of character design, you know, there are obviously going to be flaws here and there. But everything I'm talking about at the moment, I fully believe to be intentional. I fully believe that this is, or if not intentional, then happy accidents, right? There might be 1 or 2 in there. I don't know. I'm not the fucking writer, and I'm not a writer, so I can't now analyze it to that degree. But I do believe that most of this is intentional. And I believe this is intentional as well. If it weren't for those 2 lines under the right eye, I would doubt my conviction on this. You can even see, like, there are a couple loose strands of hair about, which show a more wild look, like next to the left eye. You can see the bang, and there's a massive fucking strand of hair coming off of it, and then on the right bang, And look, the cloak is frayed as well. You can see lines everywhere. Now, that might be there normally, but it feels more exaggerated here to show a sense of wild desperation. And that's why I reacted to seeing this picture of Siffrin near the end of the last video, because I was like, something about that is more disturbing to me, because it's not right. It's wrong. Something about it is wrong. And it's somehow more concerning than when Siffrin is angry or upset. I think witchcraft is what gave the king power over timecraft. How do I know that? I'll never tell, teehee. Oh, crab. This would be very, very, very useful to know, wouldn't it? Interesting. Now, how did you come to that conclusion? May I see? Are you even reading this? Letter's bad. I can't read it at all. I've never even heard of witchcraft. Are you sure it's even real? Worth a try. Since you can read it, can you translate what you can, Siffrin? You nod furiously, like feverish, wild. You start reading and translate as best you can. I'll leave the thinking to you all. I am a child. I have a lot on my mind. I cannot help. Understandable. Isabeau and Odile listen intently while Mirabelle and Bonnie start playing some kind of game in a corner. You keep translating. After a bit, Odile nods. I think I understand. Witchcraft, as the name implies, is the art of crafting wishes, of making whatever you desire come true. According to this, there seems to be no clear limit on what kind of wish you can make come true. A big part of it seems to come through just believing very strongly that your wish will come true, huh? That you wish will come true? Is that a typo? This game is unplayable. Everything I just said about Siffrin's character was an accident and they can't write good. I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. Case closed, ending it here. I'm sorry. I like making that joke. I'm sorry. So by crafting some specific rituals in conjunction with a powerful will for your wish to come true, people can seemingly make any kind of wish come true. Okay. You used the word congestion, so now I'm confused. What does traffic have to do with this? Conjunction. It means the same way we use craft and certain knowledge and will to make figurines move, there's always used craft to make your wishes come true. You nod, you nod. Bonnie raises her hand. You have a question, Boniface? Can you make any wish come true if you ask? Yes, but the way the wish comes true seems a little more complicated than that from what Siffrin translated. Yeah, depending on what you ask, your wish might not come true, but you might get the means to make your wish come true. So like, let's say, I want to freeze Vogard in time. Okay, here's time powers. Yay! Basically. Let's say you wish to win a rock, paper, scissors tournament. Instead of just having it come true through pure luck, you might get something to help make it come true. Like maybe you'd get better at reacting and you can see your opponent's hand in slow motion as it falls so you can change your own hand. Or maybe you'd get the insights to tell what they'd be playing based on their body language. Or you just get the power to see the future so you know what hand your opponent will play beforehand. But we've seen what happens when you see the future. The entire party gets one shot, so you don't want that. Oh, or maybe you can meet a powerful rock, paper, scissors master who'd be willing to teach you through the goodness of their heart. Maybe. Very roundabout, but that might actually be the point. But what if your opponent also made a wish to win? What do you think would happen? Unless whoever's will was stronger. That's what the king said, if you remember in the last episode. Maybe the wishes would cancel each other out and the match would end in a draw. Or maybe their wishes would both be considered null and it'd be anyone's game. Or maybe the wishes can't work because it's two opposite wishes, so they both explode! And destroy the whole world! Oh no! Oh no! But neither of the wishes would come true then. So maybe they both get to win somehow. Maybe they'd go to different tournaments. Or share a medal! Cute. This is fascinating. Everything that has happened since Act 4 started is fascinating. And I'm not exactly saying that I wasn't interested before Act 4, but the start of Act 4 is the most fascinating shit ever. I mentioned it I wrote it down in the Patreon read at the end of the last episode, but I'm fucking engrossed. Why do you think we're doing a double bill? I'm in. I was already in, but I'm way in. Why do you think we've been talking crap for the past 20 minutes? It's because I'm in. Makes you want to go into wishology, huh? Ha! Almost. So if witchcraft is how the king got his powers, what did he wish for then? I don't know, but maybe his power to freeze people in time might not be what he wished for, but it's the means to make his wish come true. To make Vogard perfect. A perfect picture. Oh, but then Question. I have a question. Yes, Mira. I give you permission to speak. Thank you. Siffrin, you think the king could have gotten timecraft powers by just wishing for them, right? You nod. Considering he's the one who told you about witchcraft in the first place. So then, if wishes could be that powerful, wouldn't anyone making a wish at any time be kind of dangerous? We'd be living in a very different world, wouldn't we? If someone wished to be the strongest person alive, or a kid wished for 1,000,000 ponies, but only got 999,998, so the universe exploded because they didn't actually get their wish? We can do that. Wish for 1,000,000 ponies? No! To answer your question, my dear Mira, because apparently Siffrin's not taking this role, despite knowing the most about it, but he has reasons to keep his mouth shut. It seems that just wishing for things does hold a little bit of power, but not enough to actually make anything come true. But like Sif said, over time, people figured out specific ways to do wishcraft to increase their chances of the wish coming true. And it depends on the wish, too. Some wishes are easier to make come true. It also depends on the strength of the wish, like how much you want it to come true. Although it seems the strength of the wish isn't as important as the whole ritual part. So this is kind of stuff that we already gathered, I would assume. You know, for the sake of people watching. I don't want to sound like, oh, I already sussed the whole thing. But from what little we got from the king, saying like, it seems their will was stronger than mine. That already feels like, okay, so it's based on personal belief and will and like desire. Maybe not first and foremost, but very significantly. That's a massive aspect of it. It's distinctly possible that what we're going for here is that Siffrin's desire to protect his friends and make them happy and by extension save Vogard. I don't think Siffrin specifically sat here like, I want to save Vogard. I think Siffrin sat here like, I want to help my friends. They want to save Vogard. Ergo, that's my wish. That's my goal. The actual wish is to help his friends, to save his friends, to protect them, right? We'll come back to that in a minute, actually. I've got stuff to talk about on that front. You can wish as hard as you want for something, but if there's no ritual, it's very likely that nothing will happen. So there is no ritual, huh? So there are specific steps. Is it possible that Siffrin did them by accident? What if this is the thing that Siffrin does when he's carving? You know, or sharpening his knife? Or he's performing a repetitive action whilst repeating the phrase over and over to himself, so technically Siffrin's been doing witchcraft for a very long time. Please be sharp, please be sharp, please be sharp, so the knife is sharp. Carves the thingy of Odile. Please don't be bad, please don't be bad, please don't be bad. So it was good. I don't know, maybe. I wish I won this single game, wouldn't ask for much belief, or for a lot of rituals. But in theory, you could prepare rituals and wish for something larger, like, I wish I could win this world tournament. Or I wish to get enough kind of power so I can freeze a whole country in time, right? Right. So the king knew how to do witchcraft then. That's what this means. Witchcraft could account for his mastery over timecraft. And so he must have known specific rituals to make his wish come true. Where could he have learned them? Does it matter? Because that's it, isn't it? That's it. Witchcraft is the art of making wishes come true. Wishes that could bestow immense power. A wish must be what is trapping you here. That's it, that's it, that's it. You can't help but smile widely. Finally a hint. Finally a real path you can follow. Something you can do. You try and calm your breathing. Whew. Okay. Specific rituals, huh? It's a long shot, but there might be another book about witchcraft somewhere. Something you couldn't read before. There is. And it's on the 2nd floor. Okay, so, more to do. But this is a good start. Glad for this. So, something I wanted to talk about, which, oh, my mouse is on screen, I'm sorry. Something I wanted to talk about in regards to what we were just talking about is personal theory, I suppose, is simply that the person keeping Siffrin in these loops is Siffrin. And some of the information I actually got from the conversation we just had provides a little more context for this, because it's basically been confirmed by this point that someone's, or at least it's surmised by this point, let me be clear, that someone's wish is keeping us all here, or keeping Siffrin here more specifically. And I think that person's wish is Siffrin, and I think the wish is you wish you could do this with your friends forever. You wish you could just be like this with your friends forever, all the time, forever. And, you know, it's not necessarily or literally. Well, you gotta be like that. I'm definitely not looking around me and I'm admiring the view and says that someone's telling me about to run something dangerous. You do the thing. Huh? Alright, yeah, these, I forgot. Is it the water? Should I not touch the weird floating water? Same weird water as before. Oh, wait, I've heard about the... Yeah, it's cool, it's fine. Yes, I think literally Siffrin wished, like, oh man, the adventure's gonna come to an end tomorrow if we beat the king. I sure wish we could do this forever. Kind of a little bit of a selfish wish, but, you know, not a serious one. As it is, in the sense that he really wished he could do it with them forever, but not like this, obviously. But whilst it wasn't literally a monkey's paw situation, I don't think witchcraft operates on a monkey's paw situation. In this instance, it was basically a monkey's paw, where it's like, all right, if you want to do this with your friends forever, you can replay the same day for the rest of your life, basically. And of course, the irony of it is that he's trapping them in time with him, like the king is attempting to do to Vogard. I need to fight more of these, because if we fight the king at the end of this, we need to be strong. I need to beat the king so we can have the conversation with Odile afterwards if I do everything right. Yeah, basically doing the same thing the king's doing now, which is trapping everyone in time with him. Now, not on purpose, certainly, but it is happening. You know, that is occurring. This doesn't give a jackpot point, so it should be okay. Although I noticed that during the king fight last time, that bugged out and it did give me a scissors jackpot point, which completely ruined my jackpot at that time. I didn't notice at the time, but I noticed it in editing. What's up with that? The game is basically unplayable. It's just an unplayable video game. You just can't play it. It's the Dark Souls of time loop adventure games. But yeah, quick recap on the situation with Isa at the favor tree is that the issue definitely there was that Siffrin was treating Isa as if they had already had the conversation at the clock tower and beat the king, whereas Isa, from Isa's perspective, none of that has happened. You know, obviously he's thinking about that, but hasn't even broached the topic to Sif yet. So that action comes completely out of nowhere, and it's probably what startles him so much. It's also distinctly possible that Siffrin's perception of events, chronologically, are becoming muddled because he's living through them so much and looping backwards and forwards, and it's just really hard to keep track of it all and what happens where and what people know at any given time. And let's be real, because I think this is important to keep in mind at any given time, I'm pretty sure, and in fact I'm almost certain, that Siffrin was mentally ill before the game starts. That's not a wild take. And, you know, not a slight on Siffrin at all. And that's just, it wouldn't be a slight on anyone with a mental illness. But Siffrin was not the most stable person before we got here. And this has not helped, funnily enough. I don't know how else to put it, but it's true, this hasn't helped. This hasn't helped at all. It has made things very bad. So it's rough. It truly is rough for Siffrin. He is simultaneously one of the only people who could do something like this, or handle something like this, and also one of the worst possible people to be chosen to handle something like this. But no one else is here doing it. It's just Siffrin. So Siffrin has to do it. But that's a lot of fucking pressure. I would say that a lot of my opinions towards Siffrin and feelings is so tall. Why is it so tall? Oh, it's just how the house's cook likes it. He always used to say, if we stack plates super high, then the meals we put on it are sure to reach divine status. You think about how hungry you are right now. Why not, right? How's the food? Room for improvement. For our kind and gentle Mirabelle to say this. Food tasted like crab. Oh, that leans into the line later on where it's a crab soup. I get it. Yeah, I think a lot of my feelings about Siffrin stem from, I'm not sure if it's paternal as such, but just, you know, feel for the poor guy. He's just a little guy, and I want to help him. I want to look after him. Like, he needs the help. Go fist fight the king for the poor little guy. I hit the hip. Don't even flinch. Whoa, you okay? You nod and keep going. Damn. He's just a zombie now, basically. I think that's all of the weird point stuff I can do. Suspicion points, I'm going to coin my own term and everyone's going to use it one day when I'm a huge, big, cool YouTuber. I think that's all the suspicion points for this floor. But there is still other stuff to find. We're not done. But I do feel very protective towards Sif, honestly. I think it's probably why I declined from talking about the knife, for instance, which, once again, I wish I did because it would have been a very interesting conversation, but there's also an aspect, I think Siffrin, I don't know if how much of this is intentional, purely in the sense that it's hard to do such a thing on purpose, but, or maybe it's just the fact that this game attracts a certain type of person who would feel this way, but I think most of us watching / playing this game relate to Siffrin to varying degrees, and most of them are pretty substantial, I'd say. The experience with like lack of self-worth, self-esteem, depression, social anxiety, all these kinds of things are very relatable to many of us, I think. And I think a lot of that also relates to why a lot of us just really like Siffrin as a character. And like I said before, I think he's one of my favorite characters in general now. I think he's up there. I think he's that good. And the game's not even over. It might get even better. Who knows? It does remind me... You think? You're not looking her way. I'm very confused. Okay. Yeah, no, like... It reminds me... I'm going to try and avoid spoilers on this statement because not everyone watching this might be a Limbus fiend, well, despite the fact that most of the audience are. But Canto 5 and leading up to Canto 5, a character has perhaps not the same sort of thing, but a similar level of mental degradation occurs over a period of time. And when I did that, when I played through that, I was quite critical of them, and people called me out for it. Like, they're going through a lot. Like, you should be, you know, more understanding. There's a plane flying overhead. I'm going to ignore it. You should be more understanding. You should be kinder to them. And the reason I think I wasn't, and the reason why I am for Sif, is because I like Sif. Now, I like that character now. That character I'm talking about from Limbus, I like him now. I really like him now, actually. They're, like, on par with the rest of the cast, I'd say. But at that time, I just didn't like them, because they had not endeared themselves to me before they started freaking out and fucking things up for everyone. So I was already not pleased with them, and then they did that, and I was like, I have, like, no sympathy for you. You're just being a pain, basically. Whereas Siffrin is actively making self-destructive decisions a lot of the time, or just going down the wrong train of thought, or just not doing things properly. One of the first things that happens in the game is Siffrin not doing his job properly and getting killed as a result. But even in that small amount of time, we had already been endeared to Siffrin. Siffrin had already made a strong first impression. And that strong first impression did not waver over time. Siffrin continued to make strong impressions on the player. Obviously, this is on a case-by-case basis. There might be people out there who really dislike Siffrin and their personality. This is just the case with characters and people, isn't it, really? But for me, I can only talk from my own experiences, Siffrin made such a strong first impression. And also, what makes this work, a good way to make sure that you're having the main character or a character specifically have a massive mental breakdown over a period of time, is putting you in their head. I can 100% understand Siffrin's mental breakdown because I've been there in his head the whole game. The entire fucking game I've been here. I understand 100% what he's going through. Maybe they're not experiences I've personally had. Maybe he gets upset about things that I would consider to be minor, or perhaps just not as bad, or maybe it feels like sometimes he's overreacting to something in relation to my experience with similar things, where I'd be like, well, that wouldn't be so bad, would it? Surely. You can take all those aspects, and that's fine. That's well enough, you know, that all comes down to the individual. But at the very least, I've been in Siffrin's head, so that when he gets really upset about something relating to a thing that earlier on I was like, well, that doesn't seem like a big deal. I'm like, well, at least I understand. I understand that this upsets him, so when it really upsets him, I'm like, well, yeah, there's a precedent for this. It 100% makes sense, of course. You know? I've been in Siffrin's head the entire fucking game. It's a rather dire place to be, I'll admit, but it's interesting, and it has done much to endear me to the character. He's been an absolute joy to play as much as it's been an absolute traumatic misery as Act 4 has started. And I say that in the most praising way possible in regards to the game itself and the experience of playing the game itself. It's miserable, and it's an absolute joy. I hope deep down in my very soul that this will turn out well for Siffrin, because he's fucking earned it. Because he's 100% earned it. It's why I like survival horror characters. Because when they, or if, sometimes they end quite poorly, but when / if they win and escape from the situation they're in, guess what? No one deserves to be put in those situations, but they fucking earned their freedom, right? They earned their release. This has parallels to psychological and survival horror. Siffrin is trapped, and he is earning his way out. more than he should have to do, but he's still doing it, and he still keeps going. He gets up every quote-unquote morning and keeps going. And I find characters who continuously get up and keep going to be very, very, very admirable and very respectable. And I think it might also lead to situations where I'm like, oh, I would really like to try and protect Siffrin from this if I can, because he's already going through so much. That's part of what concerns me as well, though, because surely witchcraft also requires immense amounts of power. I can't imagine it's free. So what effect might this be having on Siffrin? Maybe it becomes evident later on that, oh yeah, using witchcraft repeatedly carries a massive psychological strain, which would explain a whole fucking bunch, wouldn't it? Also, don't want to linger on the subject too much, because the game already covers it enough, and it's not really particularly profound. But the psychological effects of manually resetting a loop to avoid using certain terminology, which once again I'm not shy about using, but I'm kind of respecting the game not using the term itself, says a lot, doesn't it? Really? Even if Siffrin has become desensitized to it, which he clearly has by this point, if he suggested using his dagger, there's still a psychological effect there, and a rather profound one. And if you stop and think about it, or if Siffrin stops and thinks about it for more than 2 seconds, which I think he is basically doing everything he can to not do for good reasons. He even addresses this during one of the loops where he's like, thinking about that won't be good for your brain. So it's a different subject, but it applies here too. Think about it for more than 2 seconds, it becomes very, very, very dire. Which is, you know, what we're doing. We're sitting here thinking about it. And playing the game has a psychological effect as well. Because there's a lot going on, and we're watching someone devolve I'm not sure is the right term when I've been referring to Siffrin's mental state, but deteriorate. Deteriorate is the term. We've been watching Siffrin mentally deteriorate in a major way for a long time now. It's only now that it's really started to ramp up, and I think it will continue to ramp up because I don't know. I just think it will. I think we're the worst is not over, I don't think. So brace yourself, right? I'm bracing myself. But I think we've got a ways to go before this gets better. Let's talk about his shoulder parts. Pauldrons, Siffrin. They're so big. The pauldrons are big, and he is also very big. One pauldron might be bigger than all of us combined, which is weird. Pauldron house. Pauldron house. Pauldron house. Stop. Oh, let's pick a card. Yeah, you pick a card at random. The card is a drawing of a trapped, blindfolded man. He's surrounded by swords. Why is he alone? The bottom says 8 of swords. You got the drawn card. You can put it in your pocket. Can I even do anything with these cards? Look at the card. You ball up the card and throw it as far as you can. It goes pretty far. New record. Nice. Addressed with art books on top of it. You open the drawer. Broken egg key. Good. Okay. I think we're done with the first floor now. Yay, good job. She claps sarcastically, which makes everyone join her enthusiastically. But you know that the king didn't. Everyone is clapping, so you take a bow. At this point, not even listening, just reacting to what he vaguely remembers the situation to be. And just like, oh yes, now I bow. It's a script. It is a script. Someone made a really good post on Tumblr which compared this to, compared Siffrin to Angela from fucking, Lobotomy Corporation Library of Ruiner, and I was like, yeah, actually, kinda, isn't it? Maybe not to the same degree, like same amount of time, or maybe it does go that way, I don't know, I haven't beaten the fucking game yet, but yeah, actually, kinda. Follow the scripts. The scripts, yeah. Plus the theatrical references, you know, and themes. It's all there. Consider the position that Siffrin is in regards to leading the party, as it were, and the effects that everything has, or the events that we've seen have, which would cause him to not feel like the most valuable person in the world, right? And it's interesting because, well, I love this word, you know I do, allegory. It feels like it partially might be an allegory for people who suffer injuries that lead to them being physically disabled, right? I don't think I'm blowing anyone's mind with this, but it's worth talking about. Obviously, prior to the events of the game, Siffrin suffers an injury protecting Bonnie and loses his eye. But Siffrin's role in the party was trap guy who find trap and to get rid of trap in order to protect party from traps. But losing an eye is a massive, almost crippling hindrance to, detecting traps. Right? It literally affects your vision, your peripheral vision, your depth perception, all of it. I can't imagine what it's like to only have one eye. That's not something I have context for, because luckily it's not happened. Siffrin's role, being the trap guy, has been severely damaged by the damage he sustained. And he's having to come to terms with that, and that leads to a lot of his self-degradation during these loops where he's like, you're so bad at your fucking job. Now, one might be able to be like, oh yeah, but at the very least, Siffrin is a good fighter for the team, and provides something in the team that no one else can. And that's only true because we've been doing the loops. But if we hadn't been doing the loops, there's something I want to draw your attention to, which you obviously know, I'm just bringing it up. And that's the fact that Siffrin's attack type, or just general type, is scissors. But so's Mirabelle. Mirabelle's already a scissors user. Without Siffrin, the party already has the three types covered. Strictly speaking, obviously it turns out this is not the case, although, kinda, but it's back and forth. But strictly speaking, the party doesn't need Siffrin anymore. It sounds horrible to say that, it doesn't feel great to say it, but it's true. The moment Siffrin lost his eye, he ceased to be necessary, which is rough. That is a horrible, horrible, horrible sentiment. It is a horrible, horrible thing. But speaking purely pragmatically, no emotion at all, purely pragmatically, it's true. And Siffrin is, I imagine, painfully aware of this fact. Perhaps trying to, not think about it or trying to push it to the back of his mind, but once again, he is painfully aware of this fact, I think. So a lot of his fear, which already he has a fear rooted in the idea that his friends don't even want to be around him or just don't want to be near him or anything like that. Further rooted in the fact that he is no longer useful to the party in a sense. We know that's not true. Like, Siffrin has skills and Siffrin has abilities and stuff, but Siffrin would fear those things as well. Another blow to their self-esteem, a blow to their ability to feel like they belong in the team and to be a part of the group. But we have to consider the fact, I think, that witchcraft might be a bit more complicated than it's being described as. It's possible that witchcraft might take intent and subconscious feeling into account when wishes are made, right? Now, obviously, I think the key wish, this is all just speculation on my part, I think the main wish that Siffrin would have made is that he doesn't want his friends to leave. He wants to be with his friends forever. He wants to hang out with them forever. And I think that would also be affected by such things as, I don't want them to leave me, right? And there was something else I had in mind, but I can't remember what it is right now. I can't remember what it is, but maybe just I want to help them. A variety of mental, subconscious factors that might have perhaps influenced the wish that Siffrin made, or altered it. Right? Because what if we're going by genie rules where it's like, I wish I could fly, and they're like, all right, I've turned you into a bird. You didn't want to turn into a bird, you wanted to fly. But technically, now that you're a bird, you can fly. So the wish has been fulfilled. So you get that aspect of wish making where it becomes like, I want to be able to fly via, let's make up something, the manipulation of gravity beneath my feet. Because you have to be specific, otherwise you're going to get something you did not intend. And I think witchcraft might be similar. It's being portrayed as like, oh, it's this fairy tale magic ability that's lovely, and it's like, actually, it's a fucking legal contract, basically, or it's like, make sure you account for the fine print. What do I win? The sweet taste of victory and nothing else. Don't even get congrats? Wow, madame, I thought we were friends. We're not friends, we're associates. Not companions, colleagues, allies at best. And of course, if you do the friend quest, the personal quests, then you get here and Odile never says this shit. Because by that point, she does truly consider them not necessarily friends. Obviously, it turns out she considers them family and everyone considers each other family. But it's to the point where she's warm enough to the rest of the party, or just feels warm enough in general, that she wouldn't feel the need to immediately distance herself with a statement, even subconsciously without thinking about it. And even here, she obviously still feels warmly towards the party. It's not that the personal quest suddenly makes her like everyone. It's just a different mindset. She's just making a joke here, to be honest. And it's the reason I imagine why the favor tree is important, because it is technically a foci for witchcraft. Because people go to it and make wishes. But if people don't truly believe that their wish will come true, then it's not going to work. You need to believe in your wish. So really, Ysabeau actually sussed it pretty early on in the game, where he's like, yeah, but you gotta really believe. Why would the favor tree grant the wish if they didn't believe? But it's obviously not the fucking tree. The tree, in fact, you know, doing it at the tree isn't even necessary. But the reason why the favor tree became significant is because people were unwittingly performing wishcraft at the tree. For minor wishes, of course, because, you know, bigger wishes require a bit more, and having their wishes come true. People think it's the tree, but it's not. The tree is a normal tree. It's the fact that they were performing wishcraft. Didn't put any thought or hope into a favor, so why would it come true, right? They make a point even to say, oh, it's not the wish tree, because that would be too on the nose. It's the favor tree. You're not making a wish, you're asking for a favor. It's a nice little bit of writing misdirection, so that you don't immediately put those pieces together. If you want something to come true, it definitely will. Which is not entirely correct, but it is the idea behind it. I don't care what you say, suspicion point sounds better than weird point, okay? So I'm sticking with it. I'll die on this hill, I don't give a fuck. Some chips, please. There you go. Bonnie hands you a few handfuls of plantain chips. Crunch, crunch. So, do you all like it? Did I do a good job, snack leader? You nod, but you praise off. I don't think I died to the banana enough times. I didn't get the weird point. Maybe I have to talk to Bonnie afterwards. I don't know. I'm going to talk to everyone in these break rooms at all times. Do not make Bonnie sad. At least this never changes. Thank you, snack leader, for this delicious meal. Oh, yeah! I think speaking to Odile here does something, but I don't remember. Hey, Sif. Let me guess. You're still hungry. I can see it on your face. Want half of this cookie? Yeah, I can actually show you my point now. The thing I was talking about earlier, we can see it now. Yes, please, Mr. Amazing Funny Buff Ysabeau. You look at him. He's blushing. You feel powerful, and immediately after, disgusting. It's especially fucked up on this occasion because now Siffrin knows that saying this gets this response. This feels like more of a reflection of the player, though, than Siffrin, but it is still Siffrin saying it, so yeah. The first time you do this, it's funny, it's charming, it's cute, but with the knowledge that we have now, it becomes kind of gross and manipulative, to be honest. It just feels that way. But the problem here, of course, is so fucking standard and obvious, is that Siffrin sat here being like, oh, you're trying to make Ysabeau like you and you're manipulating events and stuff, which is technically true, that is happening, but the thing is, Isa clearly already feels this way about Sif during loop 1. Everything that Sif's doing to try and make this happen is only because in Sif's mind he's starting to truly internalize the fact that he doesn't think he's ever going to get beyond the head housemaiden. And second of all, Sif's somehow convincing himself that, you know, low self-esteem and deteriorating psychology and all that, is convincing himself that Isa doesn't actually feel that way. And also that Sif feels he needs to hear it in order for it to be true. When the reality of the situation is, all this stuff that Sif is doing is actually probably making it less likely that Isa would be interested. And the thing is, Sif's probably aware of that, but can't help himself, and it's just a horrible spiral. Just a horrible fucking spiral. Sif, you can't just say that. This is my point exactly that I was talking about before. I really have the heart of a delicate maiden, you know. You have to be careful with me. Yeah. Yeah. It's right there. I fully believe that that's intentional. I 100% believe it. Hey. Ysabeau seems to have trouble looking you in the eye. Yeah, well, we can't even go see him north of the village anymore, so what does that tell you? There's a weird point. Good stuff. Odile seems lost in thought. Timecraft and wishcraft, huh? She's looking at you weird. Did you do something wrong? I've done many things wrong. What's it to you? I'm gonna do saves. I'm gonna actually stagger saves today. Just in case. If I get to the end and something hasn't worked out and I'm like, oh, but I could have done this, then maybe I can go back and fix it. I don't know, we'll see. Moving on, floor 2. Now the problem is I blew all my topics on floor 1. I had so much to talk about and was so excited, I didn't even bother staggering it out throughout the entire video. So there might be a lot more cuts now because I have less stuff to talk about, frankly. But I got what I wanted to say out, and I even got to show you guys examples, which I'm really glad about. Because I really wanted to talk about it, is the basic thing. Also, Odile was kind of already if not my favorite character other than Siffrin. She was definitely getting there, but the image of her standing in front of the rest of the party when Sif has his little episode, where he immediately loops afterwards and we learn Just Attack, cemented Odile as probably being my favorite character other than Siffrin. She's just fucking cool and smart. I don't know. I think she's a really strong presence in the team. And she's kind of the best fighter other than Siffrin as well. She's just great. Great character. Like her a lot. But it's really a situation of she's like, best of the best. I like them all a lot. I thought I wasn't gonna like Bonnie initially. I thought like, oh good, there's an annoying child. Great, I hate annoying children. Nah, Bonnie's cool. I'm alright with Bonnie. They're a good kid. You're meow meow, cat's paw, cut my fingies, nya. What? Cute? It's cute, right? That's how I remember. I'll be thorough, I'm being genuinely thorough on this one. There we go. There's some gardening books about rare and powerful plants. Powerful plants. Somehow you're reminded of the favor tree. One of the books has a section on favor trees, but it's pretty useless. The bottom of the page says, for more information on this topic, check out... You can't read the title they're recommending. They do mention the cover of the book they're recommending as a picture of a big sparkly tree. Can you find that book somewhere? I don't know, library? Oh no, while passing through you stumble and accidentally bump against Odile. You jump and yelp. Whoa. Oh, sorry, Siffrin. I just wasn't. Don't worry, you're good. We are used to your weird aversion to touch. Your what? Oh, Sif, come on now. Everyone knows but you. There is a I completely forgot to, properly say it. I should say it now. Thank you, everyone, for providing guides on how to get the suspicion points. Very grateful. Thank you. And you're all really good about it, and no one dropped spoilers. Amazing. I'm very grateful. Thank you very much. Super cool of you guys. It's an essay about the 3.5% of people who are dual craft types users, like Mirabelle, who makes us useless as a result. This boo. It's one of my favorites. That was very weak, boo. I'm just a spooky prankster. Something's weird. Huh? Something's weird? Like what? I'll let you know when I find out. Multiple points there. Good stuff. Good stuff. You'll have to see it. Well, it's worth pointing out right there. Remember that play that Sif brought us to before we got the final orb? I'm sorry I skipped through the text, but, that's what's said. It further reinforces the fact that before getting to the house, indeed throughout the entire adventure, these guys weren't exactly doing a death march to get all the orbs super fast. They were taking time to relax because they probably understood the necessity of taking time to relax, to rest and recover. It's likely the rest of the party's influence that caused Siffrin to want to do that. But now that Siffrin is, for all intents and purposes, alone, Loop's the only other person here, there's no one to keep Siffrin's desire to fix the problem as quickly as possible in check. So he just keeps going and going and going and going, and he's not stopping, even though he has infinite time to deal with the problem. He truly does. But he's not using it. Is it still funny? Yes, it's funny. No one ever kissed someone on the mouth in a play. Not in front of everyone. Not in front of everyone! That's really good. One of us is why you're my favorite. You don't respond. There it is. Good stuff. And now for the switch. The switch! What? What the chems? Secret passage. But how? How did you... Oh, wow. A secret passage. Nice one, but you're the one who found it, buddy. You wink. Isabeau, don't let the wink distract you. Crab, wait. You've already moved on. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Get fucked! Oh, it's this thing. Well, actually, I'll tell you what, the fucking Just Attack will absolutely deal with this fucking thing. Go for it. Oh, I didn't even. He lives! Everyone run for your lives! Don't worry, everyone. Bonnie has slain the beast. Good job, Bonnie. Moldy old books. One of them is written in your language. You can read it now. It seems to be a book on different rituals to craft wishes. You flip through it. Oh, another wiggly, headachy book. Is this another book on witchcraft? You nod. You start translating as best you can. The book talks about many different rituals to craft wishes, from the correct way to pick up four-leaf clovers, to calling out to shooting stars the right way. Ooh. So there's a kid in Dormont who gives us I'm not sure if it's actually a four-leaf clover, but it's like a leaf. And we we don't see a shooting star when hanging out with Isabeau. Ah. Yeah, they're both similar, but not correct. Good point. Good point, me. Thanks, me. God, you're so perceptive, me. Don't I know it, me? Favorite tree what now? The favorite trees can grow wishes? Favorite trees like the one in Dormont? The one everyone asks things to? Ah, it makes sense, it makes sense. You even vaguely remember thinking about it a long time ago. Asking a higher power for a favor is no different than making a wish, isn't it? I got there before the game got me there. I feel very smart. Isn't it? So could someone's wish to the favor tree have trapped you here? Whose? What? What did you wish for at the favor tree again? You think and think and think, trying to remember what you even wished for, which was 2 months ago, by the way. It was so far back. Such a long time ago. You wished to wear clothes Isabeau has made. Ah. Was that all? You think so? Oh. It can't be because of your wish then. I guess not. You haven't even gotten farther than being the king, let alone leaving the house to make that wish come true. Your wish can't come true until you escape the loops. So then maybe... What did you all wish for? To the favor tree, you mean? Well, I mentioned it earlier, but it was the coin flip. I wished to win a coin flip. I wish that didn't come true, by the way. Well, I might have done the correct ritual, but I didn't put any belief in it, did I? You know her wish doesn't come true on every loop. Some loops she wins the coin flip, some loops she doesn't. I asked for my sister to be okay. I wished for all of Vogard to be safe from the king. I don't think Isabeau wants to say it. What about you, Isabeau? Didn't wish for anything. What? 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 Listen! I just didn't know what to wish for! I'm an indecisive guy! Leave me alone! Can't believe this. Oh, madame, I'm gonna wish to win my next coin flip is gonna judge me now? I didn't think anything would happen. At least I wished for something. That's too bad. Yeah, I'm kind of bummed I didn't wish for anything now. Why didn't I clap my hands and wish for something? Huh? Clap your hands? Yeah. That's how you ask a favor to the favor trees. You look at the tree and clap your hands once and say aloud whatever you ask for. Oh. It's the ritual. Isabeau looks at everyone else. Is that not correct? No, it's what I did. Me too. This is how you taught me, Isabeau. That's also how I learned it at school. Siffrin, did you not do it like that? No, of course not. Obviously. You make your wish and breathe it into the leaf you like best. And fold the leaf over to keep your wish safe. What? It just makes sense. They're all looking at you. You've only wished at a favor tree that one time, but it just makes sense. You try to explain. You choose a leaf to represent yourself. You breathe your wish into it to make a link between you and whatever you're wishing to. So, a link between you and the tree. No, the universe, I think? What's a... Keep going, Siffrin. You repeat your wish 3 times. 3 times? 6 could work, I think. Or 7, or 13. So, whatever number. And then you fold the wish into the leaf to tether the link between you and the wish. Touching it. They're all staring at you. If you just look at a tree and clap and say stuff aloud, why would the wish know where to go? I suppose so. That kind of makes sense, I suppose. But that's so many details to remember. And that's not how we were taught at all. It's something we learn as Vogardians, and I've never heard anyone do it differently. But then, the favor trees are more of a superstition, aren't they? No one really takes it seriously. Well, except lately, where everyone started taking it super seriously, just in case. So who did it right? Because I'm kind of, once again, going on the, assumption that perhaps what the favor tree grants what you actually want. Like, it delves into the subconscious route. Well, not even the favor tree. Ignore the favor tree as such. Wishcraft, because that's what's actually happening here. Wishcraft goes on what you kind of really want, rather than what you specifically asked for. But I don't know about that. I'm losing confidence in that train of thought. I am. But it could be a thing, and it's worth keeping in mind, I suppose. I'm guessing the implication here is that Siffrin just did wishcraft wrong at the start of the game. So a wish can be made, potentially. So did everyone in the country mess up their wish? Or did Siffrin mess up their wish? Ha! Odile starts laughing. Well, why are you laughing? Sorry. It's just funny. This could have been a way to save Vogard if everyone somehow wished for it. But no one knew how to do it correctly, so... And the only person who knew how to do it wished for... What did you wish for, Siffrin? It's embarrassing, so... I wished for croissants to be eradicated. What? What? No! Not croissants! And since Siffrin knew the ritual, croissants might actually be... Oh no. I sure hope the specific wish doesn't come true. But yeah, no one except Sif knew the right ritual. Okay, so Sif did do it properly. Or did they? But rituals are only part of it, right? Belief is another. If enough people wish for the same thing, maybe it can make a difference. Heh. A drop of belief in an ocean of nothing. Boo! So, Mirabelle wished for Vogard to be saved. Odile wished to win a coin flip. Bonnie wished for their sister to be okay. And Isabeau didn't wish for anything. You don't think any of those wishes could have trapped you here. So, maybe someone else's? Like the king's? Or yours? The king probably wished for Vogard to be perfect or something, so you don't think it's related to you. Is there a way to know what people in Vogard wished for? You should ask the villagers in Dormont what they wished for. Okay. That's the next step, I suppose. You know, after we do what we're doing here. Look, shields, boring books, they smell weird. Boom, another weird point. And another one. Odile was staring at you. You look away. Maybe you shouldn't have looked at that bookcase. No, I absolutely should have. These are so complicated, I wish I could figure it out someday. Nah, don't worry about it. Everyone stop thinking now. Let me do the thinking. I'll do the thinking for you. Yes, good. What we need is less croissants. Every sadness is a croissant waiting to be destroyed. Just in case I fuck anything up, or in case, I don't know, my internet fucking kicks out. Not my internet, my power kicks out or something. That happens sometimes, by the way. Sometimes my power just goes. Just have power cuts. I know it happens to everyone, but it happens quite a lot here. And, it's bothersome. Can cause recording issues. It's not been bad since I switched to OBS, but I had a recent issue with OBS, so that's not perfect either. But it's the best I've got so far, honestly. So yeah, they do all this and go, not forgive, eat potatoes, may your house fall down on your horrified face. Yeah, well she said. But Siffrin's face isn't like horrified or uncomfortable at all. It's completely normal. But let's use the crest then, shall we? Anything probably looking slightly impatient, which is all just very out of character. And that's the whole point of the weird point system. It is cool, I know, my term's better, but I have to respect that there is a term for it. And it's all about Siffrin being weird by the standards of which the rest of the party know him. But suspicion points is better, shut up. There it is. Well, you have sharp things. Never you mind. It's all part of a big plan. Okay, is there everything I need to do on floor 2? Getting there. I shudder to check, but how long have I been recording for? 2 hours. I've been taking it really slow this time, to be fair. That is the whole point of this run. Was to take the opportunity to talk about stuff and to make sure I get all the suspicion points. And that's what I'm doing. And to find all the stuff relating to the main quest so that we can go back to Dormont and, you know, talk to the villagers. I imagine it'll be like an hour minimum on floor 3 to find everything as well. So this will be a long one. But it's fine. Like I said, that's literally what I came into this expecting, planning, intending, assuming, gonna do. Another save. Just in case. Quick test. Okay, everything's fine. I have to do that now, just to make sure. Alright, Isabeau, what's up? Hey, Sif. You know you look like a hamster? Yeah, because this is the one where Sif pulls a strange face. No, I don't. You look like a hamster. Like a cute hamster. Ooh. Yeah, don't be cheeky. That was a real scary face you just made, though. Did you train in the mirror? Scary face. Yeah, we did it last time, Sif. Don't you remember? Goddamn. Oh, wow, immediately. Odile was looking at you. Do you have anything you'd like to tell me, Siffrin? You shake your head. Go away now. I need my alone time. Leave Odile alone. Wow, we didn't even get to do the thing. But we got, you know, a weird point for it anyway. At least one, anyhow. And there's more to do as well. Not weird points, they're suspicion points. Everyone shut up. Everyone shut up. I know better than the creator, obviously. Don't at me. Don't want to hear it. Don't ping me. Don't tweet me or whatever the fuck it is you kids do. Don't look at me. The gate is covered in the king's hair. This thread is so strange. I can't seem to move it aside. Frozen thread. It seems to be covering the rest of the floor too. Can we cut it? Keep Bonnie from taking your knife and try to slice the door yourself. Oh, it didn't work. Attacking out of nowhere like that. So scary, Sif. Indeed, it didn't seem to have done anything to the thread. Oh, wait, look, it did something. It's slightly dented here. So a sharper knife could do the trick, maybe. I suppose. Either way, we should explore this floor more. Just go get the knife. Well, I got what I wanted. Now to loop ahead. I'm just kidding. It's completely undo like 3 hours of work. I made myself nervous saying that. Hey, Sif. You okay, buddy? What's up with the barrels? I did check a few barrels, didn't I? A key could be in there. Well, that's not false, I guess. Anything could be in there. A key, a crest, some tonics, maybe a sword. I don't think a barrel will hide a sword, Boniface. You just like looking into barrels, it's fun. But you're supposed right, you could find something interesting in those. You got a memory of barrels. You'll always remember this. If you have memory of barrels equipped, examining barrels might give you some cool items. Huh? Is that how barrels work? Well, I guess that's how they work now. Yay for you. Good. What if? What if? What if? What if we... Memory of barrels. It's a barrel. Something in there. 2 salty broths. Shit. I am going to re-equip the memories, because if I forget, then that could be quite crippling. Anyway, people who run away from home are people who don't like their family, maybe. Sometimes parents can be meanies and someone might decide to just leave. Oh, you can run away from home if your parents are meanies? Oh, that's what Nil did. I think. Oh. Nil. My sister. I think she told me about it once, but I wasn't listening very well because I was sleepy. Oh. Oh. No one really knows how to respond to that. Huh? What? What? What did I say? There's nothing at all, Boniface. There's some trauma that just came out of nowhere. Okay. Should we look at something other than an old letter? Okay. 5 sweet tonics, 3 super sweet tonics, 3 salty broths, 3 crafted waters. What the? Jackpot! Give them all to Bonnie. You know, it occurs to me I almost never use items during the fights with the king. Probably should. The closet is filled with many different types of clothes. Oh, look at this shirt. It has the same material as your cloak, right, Sif? This also looks incredibly warm. So I don't know how you managed to wear your cloak this whole summer. I never really get hot with it, though. Really? Sif, can I look at your cloak for a sec? You nod. Taking care not to touch you, Isabeau kneels and takes a hold of your cloak. Your cloak's been sewn with some kind of temperature regulation spell crafted into the stitching. That's kinda cool. Or warm, depending on the circumstances. No wonder you always look comfortable no matter the weather. What? Isn't that really advanced crafting? It's also been crafted to make the cloak grow with you. Must have been incredibly expensive, unless it was handmade. How long have you had this? You think... And the screen goes fuzzy. Alright. You think. You think and think and think. Something has to come to mind, anything. How can you not remember something as simple as this? Something as simple as where you got your blinding cloak you've been carrying for as long as you can remember. Wah! You felt wind on your face? Huh? Isabeau shook your cloak sharply, making a wave of wind blow on your face. Sif, buddy, we need to talk. This is getting too weird. See? And your cloak is so solid, too. It's really cool. And look, everyone, come closer, look at this. Everyone looks where Isabeau's pointing, away from your face. You look, too. So right here, right, that's super interesting stitching. It's back stitching, right, which is a very solid kind of stitching, and it's used in a lot of different places. These are terms I'm familiar with, but don't know what they mean. But Fogardian clothing in general is moving away from back stitching because, well, we think it's boring. Like here, my clothing has something called chain stitching, and it's also in a zigzag shape because it looks cuter, I guess. But back stitching is just more durable. Now that I look at it, your hat has the same stitching too. I wonder if they were a set. Yzma raises his head and looks at your face. And, look at the way the cloak is weaved too. It's wool, and it goes one thread up, one thread down, etc. But again, Fogardian clothing likes to be more interesting visually, so if you look at Mira's cloak... Are you saying Friend's cloak is boring? No, I'm not saying it's boring. I'm just saying it's clothing that's less like Fogard or even Carbu's artistic clothing. It's less clothing that's to make you look pretty or make you stand out, and more clothing that's here to keep you comfy and warm. It's practical. Function over form, you know? Oh, okay. Uh-huh. So, what I'm saying is, considering the craft that came into it, the temperature regulation and how it grows with you, whoever gave you this cloak wanted to make sure you're going to be nice and comfy for a long time, Sif. Ah. Ooh. You try not to cry. You bite your lip and breathe slowly in and out. You walk away from the closet. Let's look at something else. Okay. Good, cool, good, great, more mystery. Yeah, it's probably given to Sif by his parents or something. That he doesn't remember. Okay, let's see what this is. You close the bathroom stall door and inhale sharply. Oh no, that was too loud. Someone might hear you. Try again. Oh. Your eye stings. Your stomach hurts. Your head feels like it's about to split in two. You try to breathe silently in and out, but it won't go in or out. Oh, do you want to cry? Is that it? Oh yeah, you've always thought crying was just a waste of time, but you remember reading once that just the act of crying does help making you feel better. Okay then, tears, come on out. We're gonna be in here a while then, aren't we? If you haven't been crying your entire life. No tears are coming out. Yeah. Okay. Haha, sounds like you don't want to cry right now after all. Stars, you're finally someplace no one will see you. You spend this whole loop wanting to cry, and now that you're safe and hidden, the tears won't come. You won't get a chance to be alone for a while. You need to cry now. Stars, you can't cry from your dead eye, but you should be able to cry from the other, can't you? Or are you broken on both blinding sides? This is just rough. This is just rough. Just cry, stupid body. Cry. Your nose burns and your eye stings, but no tears are coming out. It's not working. This is a losing battle. Oh, maybe pain will do the trick. I don't fucking think it will. That's why people usually cry, right? That's why children cry sometimes. I find after a certain age, that tends to not be a trigger anymore. Or at least it was, at least in my experience. I can't speak for everyone on that front. I guess your eyes do tear up when you suffer certain kinds of pain, but I wouldn't say tearing up is the same as crying. They're two very different things, I would. Despite being similar, it is a substantial difference, I find. Nope, not working. It's apparently not time to cry yet. Haha. Okay, stop, and calm down. You're fine. You're fine. You just need to keep going. You have to find out more about how the loops work. That's the only path you have left. Learn more about the loops, about why you're here, about why the loop breaks down when you talk to the head housemaiden, and act better. Your family members, you can tell they feel something's wrong. You need to get your act together. If they know something's wrong, it'll only get harder for you. Especially if she knows. Especially if... Huh? The tall one with the What do you mean the tall one with the glasses? You know what her name is? The researcher, she's the coldest, but she can get so curious sometimes, it almost makes her seem childish. She's too perceptive for her own good, and you can't remember her name. That's a serious problem. That's a serious problem. Siffrin, are you okay? You've been in there a while. Oh! Odile! Yes. Literally. Odile. That is my name, yes. Cool, this has gone really well. Is everything... There's no toilet paper in the store. Oh. Ha! I'll go get you some. Give me a second. You hear her walk away. Odile, Mirabelle, Isabeau, Bonnie. It's okay, you remember. You still remember. You bite your gloved fingers and try to breathe deeply in and out. You remember. You haven't forgotten them. They're still here. Traveling together with you. You're still here. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're not. You flinch. Something fell on your lap. I found you some paper, Siffrin. Thank you, Odile. See you in a second. You hear her walk away. You take the toilet paper and hold it between your hands. You press your face against it, breathing. Thinking about nothing. This is probably the longest one so far. Well, this toilet paper is really nice and soft, actually. You wonder where she found it. Teehee. See? Even stuck in a time loop, and even though you've been stuck for a long time, there are still things you can find out about the world around you. This roll of toilet paper is giving you hope. How blindingly wonderful for a roll of toilet paper to be the only hope you have left right now. Come on, man. Just take the win. Just take the win. You exit the stall. So yes, two things there that we discussed earlier, which was the physical symptoms manifesting from psychological, duress. Every single physical symptom we saw there, or Siffrin told us about there, it was purely psychological, which is not a revelation of any kind, but it's worth, once again, referencing and pointing out. And also the fact that some of the main things Siffrin tells himself is, you're fine, and you have to keep going. Which is good in certain circumstances. Like, I used to walk very long distances when I was younger, right? I think one time I walked like 15 miles or something. It might not have been 15. I don't remember. I can't remember the exact distance, but it was a long way. It took me about 8 hours to do that walk. And the key to that was the mentality of just keep going, right? Because if you stop, then the fatigue catches up with you and you kind of can't keep going. That's fine in like a short-term thing, but it does all harken back to the fact that Siffrin does, I think, he won't, I know he won't, but he needs to take a loop to be like, all right, I'm just going to sit and think and decompress and stop. For one loop, it will make no fucking difference to anyone, and you can, loop again at any time with the not banana and Dormont. Just take some time to just sit there and nothing. But he won't. He doesn't. The only way you can do that is by making him go talk to Loop at the tree now and just sit down, but it doesn't do anything. Or maybe it does. Once again, something I might want to try in a bit. But yeah, we can see, I think the biggest, maybe not the biggest, but I think massive catalysts for Sif's mental deterioration is simply that he is not taking moments to stop for a minute and rest and think and just chill. He's constantly go, 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 do this, do that, do this, do that, which I can relate to. I spend a lot of my life just working, and I need to take more time to take breaks, but I do it better than Sif does. Different circumstances, of course, but even something so mundane can be significant. I keep checking the pause menu because I'm half expecting Sif's expression to change again. Just because of how much is happening. Oh, that was a very blatant Sif. You look at it a little closer. You stick your tongue out in disgust. The statue's face looks awful. Can noses look like that? Wow, that left eye is somehow above the right brow. I can't tell if they're supposed to be smiling or frowning. Sif, Mirror, help us roast this statue's terribly made face. Ooh. Mirror? Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh god. I caught on after everyone else did. Oh jeez. I was trying to make them look gentle and nice. Mirror was so sorry. Sorry we said your statue sucked. No, it's fine. I'll get my revenge against you all someday. Everyone shudders. So Mirabelle made this statue. Interesting that's the only one that wasn't destroyed. You know very little about the Change God, and the statues of them you can find everywhere in Vogard. Maybe you should look at the statues inside the house when you have the time. I suppose so. Okay, there was value to this, just not what I intended. Now we gotta go slap the boss, and I think this will probably go quite well. It's been a long run, but we're nearly there, and I'm gonna go out ahead and say that even if I fail to get the suspicion thingy, this has still been worth it, I think. We talked about a lot of cool stuff. We've achieved forward progress in the story. Siffrin's continued to be concerning. We're doing alright. We're doing fine. This won't have been a waste. I won't do this every single time because fucking hell, but this will have been worth it, I think. I'm not worried about that. They're quickly losing their shine. Oh. You see an entire bowl of them in a heartbeat, giving yourself a tummy ache. Your parents used to gently make fun of you for it, and you just remembered something about your parents. Holy shit. What? Your parents? Your head hurts. Ah. Malanga fritters again. They're quickly losing their shine. You bite into one. God damn. In the spirit of being a good person good at this feelings thing, how are you feeling right now? Why is she asking this again? You swallow. I'm fine. I don't believe you. If you think everyone hasn't noticed how weird you've been acting, that dumb smile isn't as convincing as you think it is. Leave it alone, Odile. I'll figure it out eventually. Do your worst. I'd like to think that did it. I think, potentially, I don't know for sure, because I just haven't been keeping track of the points at all. Probably should have been. I think maybe last time I might have had enough points, but hadn't read the books, but this time I have read the books, and I think I do have enough points, but I wonder if maybe you had to have already read the books. No, because you have to put the idea in Odile's head about timecraft and wishcraft. I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, if it turns out it's nothing, and I haven't done it, then it's whatever. We've still achieved stuff today. It's still been a good time and interesting. But we still gotta beat the king, and I will load this save if I fuck up. So is Siffrin still scared is the question. My few glows. Your attacks will hit harder. So now for this part, yes. Siffrin's only scared the first time. Okay, good. That does make this a lot easier. I assume, don't know for sure, obviously, but I assume what the game does is that you become scared of the king after what they do to Bonnie, and I reckon, maybe some of you can confirm this because I don't know, Siffrin is scared of the king until you beat him again. Don't know for sure, maybe. It'd be pretty cool if that were a thing. Rex, fucked, absolutely dealt with, zone out, yep. Soon the curtains will close. Dumb baby idiot, yeah. Time to die. Wait, hang on a minute, hold on, I've got more to say. No. Fuck off. No. Ooh. Hey, look, we did it. God, this game's fucking easy, bruv. I've already beaten it like 6 times. Crazy. I noticed she reacted differently there, because normally she goes, you figured it out, did you? But this time she went, yes, my fake research. As if... She's like, how do you know that, though? Bananerology. Ha, see, she didn't even laugh properly. Ooh, yeah. Changes, alright. Yes. Ah. I'll miss you, Siffrin. You're a little strange, but you're a good kid. Maybe try letting you have walls down every once in a while, huh? And come to Kabu anytime. Maybe we'll meet during your travels. She's smiling at you gently. You force yourself to smile back. Siffrin, is everything... Oh, more! Yeah! Anyway. But really, is everything okay? Well, what do you mean? I don't know, Siffrin. You felt off since yesterday. More withdrawn, mostly. Tell me what's wrong. Nothing's wrong. It's okay if you don't want to tell me, you know. I'll find out eventually. But I'm not hiding anything. Is that so? Is that so? So. Timecraft has nothing to do with you. Whoops. No, that's... And the fact that you knew how to read that book about witchcraft, knew how to wish correctly when no one else did, it doesn't mean anything either. It's not like that. And the way you're acting, doing that stupid smile like nothing's wrong, it doesn't mean anything either. I'm not stupid, Siffrin. If I find something strange, I can do nothing except give it my full attention. And you are acting strange. There were so many signs, almost as if you went out of your way to do them. I did not understand them, but now I do. You've been acting strange since you woke up from your nap yesterday. When we talked to you, you act out of it, almost bored. And the way you reacted to the rocks falling. We all jumped, but you just looked at them fall, calmly. And there's so many other things, the way you reacted to so many things throughout our entire journey through the house. And how, every time you found the keys we needed to proceed, you didn't seem surprised, like you knew exactly where they were. Even that key hidden in the classroom. Almost like... like you had found them before, maybe? Well, it could be anything, really. Maybe I'm just good at my job. Losing that eye really helped, actually. No. Say something. But that'd be impossible, though. How could I have known where the keys were when it's my first time here? I don't know, Siffrin. Why don't you enlighten me? Well, don't think I believe that whole I wish croissants would disappear thing, too. So if you lied about your wish, what did you wish for, then? That's it, isn't it? Did something happen? To you? To us? Did we die against the king, maybe? Is that why you're repeating the same events, Siffrin? Ooh, shut up! Ooh. Well, this has been a loop, hasn't it? Even if you oh wow, has this proxed the ending? Even if you figure it out, Odile, it's too late. It's too late. It's always too late. Did you have to figure out now when it's all about to end? You can't help me, Odile. No one can. Sif, Odile, what's happening? Why are you yelling? It's too late. You can't help me. But... And I think, weirdly, I don't even want you to help me. Why don't I want you to help me? Siffrin. Maybe because I know that if you help me, you'll start hating me. Because I don't know why this is all happening, but it must be because of me that we're repeating the same events. And if you knew that, you'd hate me. So that's why Siffrin refuses to tell them. Siffrin? Burnt sugar. And I don't want you to hate me. So, okay, well, that... It's okay if you don't want to tell me, you know. I'll find out eventually. Maybe, teehee. Odile seems to give up. Alright, well, if that was all. Oh, kinda sus, act suspicious. I sure did. Back to looking around curiously, like always. She sees you stare and flashes you a smile. You smile back. Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, well, yeah, that was a scene. And it explains a lot. Because I figured the main reason Siffrin didn't want to tell them is because he was like, it'll be a massive conversation, like a huge one, to even convince them that this is the case and that Siffrin's telling the truth. And having to do that more than once would be absolutely agonizing. Also, the idea that if he told the team, like, look, this is just going to repeat and we'll never win, that would completely demoralize them, which would also be very painful for different reasons. But no, once again, it runs deeper than that. Okay, alright. I've noticed you've got no more options to try and tell everyone to be quiet when you speak to Isabeau, because, you know, you've played it to its logical conclusion now and it doesn't matter. Also, Siffrin's probably still too disgusted with himself to, like, attempt to make it happen in any way, shape, or form. Sif, we did it. Sif, we did it. We did it, Sif. We did it. We stopped the king. We can go back to our normal lives. Isn't it great? It is. I said... Do you remember what I said at the clock tower? You remember? Come on, tell me something. Yeah, well, okay, phew, Sif, Siffruni, Siffrin, there it is again. You try to keep your face neutral. Or will a neutral face make him stop? Oh, wait, you remembered. Doesn't matter what you do. Will this be quick? Wow. Sharp. What? I should go talk with everyone else. Oh, yeah, sure. I understand. It wasn't important anyway. Go talk to everyone. Oh, wow. Oof. Okay, go talk to everyone. Shoo. You nod. Stupid stuff aside, though, are you doing okay? What do you mean? Weird vibe, what? Nah. I'm good. Okay, good. I mean, okay, good. As in, we'll talk about it later. But you know. Come on, go talk to everyone else. Brilliant, fantastic. This went marvelously. Alright, Euphrazi, let's round off the show, shall we? Ah, jeez, it's a huge downer, and off we go. Something's broken, failing, rotting. Yeah. Loop 65. Act 1, Scene 1, Dormont. Siffrin is laying on the grass. They look at the sky for a bit, then get up. Yes, indeed. Now, normally, I would go ahead, do a few more talky talks to everyone, and then round the episode off, but how long have I been going for now? I might check. 3 hours and 50 minutes, so nearly 4 hours. I think we can call it there for today, I do believe. That was cool. I liked doing it this way. Taking a quick moment to actually just talk a bit more rather than rush through the house. Only coming back for relevant things and, you know, getting through it that way, but instead actually taking some time to talk to you guys about stuff and point out things and observe the house in a little bit more detail. We didn't look at everything in the house because I know I haven't looked at everything in the house. I know there's things I've missed, but I was at least doing it in a lot more detail. And now I don't have to worry about the suspicion point system anymore because I've now done that and that's done. That's taken care of. Interesting. Very interesting. It was roughly what I expected, but I was thinking more that Odile would kind of just double down on talking about Siffrin's problems. I didn't think she'd actually suss that Siffrin was manipulating time or doing loops. So it's quite impressive that she actually managed to do that. Further reinforces my admiration for the character. She's very smart. But yeah, I feel like talking through a lot of it today also helped put Siffrin in a bit of perspective, for me at least. I don't know about you. Like, a lot of the stuff I talked about you guys probably already knew, already figured, or maybe it was wrong, like, objectively, or maybe you simply disagree, and it's totally fine if you do. Feel free to post your disagreements. But it's interesting. Once again, I touched on this earlier on, but I think I see a lot in Siffrin I see a lot of myself in Siffrin, as I'm sure many other people who enjoy this game do as well. I think that's a part of the charm of Siffrin's character, where if you're like Siffrin, then you'll probably enjoy the game, because there's a lot of relatable stuff in there. But personally, I'm not going to prompt anyone else to share personal details, I'm just going to do it myself, but I see the depression, obviously. I had that for a very long time, roughly 15 years. And that is something that does, in fact, force you to put on an act. That is, I think, one of the key aspects of Siffrin's character is the acting. And I see a lot of what he does, and I remember a lot of what I used to do, and still kind of do, just it's not quite as tragic or severe at this point. It's more a case of like, look, if I'm in a bad mood, I might not tell everyone I'm in a bad mood, you know, just deflect it or what have you. I do talk more now. I do less acting nowadays and more talking honestly, because it is actually healthier. But yeah, I see a lot of that and I feel a lot of that. And there are a lot of very relatable concerns and trauma and problems that Siffrin has that I can personally relate to in many ways. It's interesting, and it makes me care for the character, I suppose, because I want things to turn out well for him. Things have, in the grand scheme of things, turned out well for me. I'd like the same to happen for Siffrin. He's a cool character. He's got his flaws. Boy, does he have many. That's kind of the fucking point. And that's why I want him to be okay. And that's why I want to try and do my best to make him okay. It's once again, why I didn't talk about the dagger with Luke, because I was worried about what that could do. An unfounded concern, perhaps, but it shows the effectiveness, I suppose, of the writing in the character to make me care to that degree, or it says something about me not being brave enough to take the option. But either way, it's very interesting to me. Very, very interesting to me. The game is now fascinating to me. And I'm looking forward to doing the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed the In Stars and Time double bill. Literally on the day this was recorded, a new Intervalo for Limbus Company came out, so the Limbus viewers are going to skin me alive for doing this rather than doing that, so I hope you enjoyed it, because I won't be around much longer, at least not with skin. Friends, thank you so much for watching. Special thanks to our members and patrons: Miscreant, Raki Riku, Crescent, Tony the Horse, Cryolytic, Lyle the Hexire, Abyssalangi, Hotraman, Saga, Jack, The Elf Lord, John Rothberg, Ninja Dog, Ember Fox, Grand Captain General Peace, Meebag Turtle, Malignant Humor, Cuds, Kana Samaria, Poe, Porchop Lebrec, Lifesteal, Mega Mr. Z-Man, Unclever Names, Summercat, Flanny, Painted Dragoon, Lip Potatoes, Proxy, Caminera, Moa, Heartland, Harik J, Dresso, Sion Distance, Lol, Etherbin, Linky, Zeon Cedar Bin Ward, Alkia, Honeydew, Sweetberry Red, Jessica T, Plutonium Pie, Dreamer Ghost Lap Lullaby, K-Bum, Magic Owl, The Frostbite, Monsoon, SCP-1068, Namad, and Kenny T800 for supporting me on YouTube and on Patreon. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you all so much for watching. Yeah, it's hard to summarize my points at the end of these, because to be honest, I'm usually emotionally knackered. Like, I'd say this is probably the most mentally straining series I'm doing in recent memory. Because XCOM, yeah, is mentally straining in the sense that there's a lot of strategy and tactics, and I've got to concentrate. And usually Limbus is quite vocally heavy, where it's a lot of, doing talking and stuff, and usually the boss is quite hard, so it's quite taxing there as well. This game is the only one where it's like, this is straight up just emotionally taxing. Like, I'm emotionally exhausted, spent by the end of it. Which says a lot for the game, frankly, because, like, and this is nothing to, criticize the game in question at all, but I remember playing Signalis and people being like, oh, you're going to be a fucking emotional wreck after this one, and I wasn't. Nothing wrong with Signalis at all, nothing wrong. It's a fantastic game, super fucking good, but it just didn't hit me, I guess. Well, some might argue that perhaps this game has too much dialogue. I'd argue that Signalis didn't have enough. And then by the time the game was like, alright, here are the emotional gut punches, I'm like, yeah, that's sad, but I'm not really super invested in the characters, I suppose. It's not to say I wasn't at all, right? Signalis is very good, but I think this succeeds at being an emotional experience a lot more than Signalis does. Perhaps not a fair comparison because they are two very different games, but it's a series we've done in recent memory that I can at least compare. I prefer the gameplay for Signalis for what it's worth, because, it's survival horror and it's tense, whereas this is, a fairly... touch wood, it doesn't get harder, but thus far, this is a fairly easy turn-based RPG. I'm not exactly engaged by the combat in this game. So, there are different points in which games succeed and fail, but I wanted to make that emotional comparison just to show that, yeah, this game's laying it on pretty fucking thick. But I'm truly rambling now. Thank you so much for watching, and whatever happens next time, hope I see you there. Toodles, goodbye.